step one is detaching 100% from the outcome. This is massive, massive. If a salesperson is going to take this philosophy, Jordan, into the real world, and because here's what I believe that most people do care about other people. I believe that most people in a sales position are not there to rip people off. They're not there to do the wrong thing. They are there. They genuinely want to help. They just don't know how, because they're still taking traditional sales training, which is messing them up in the head. So first thing they got to do if they want to change that or alter that is detach from the outcome 100%. What does that mean? That means that they have to go into a selling situation, Jordan, with exactly what you said, to say, okay, what is the real need? What is the real pain? And we even have t-shirts that our team wears all the time that says, no pain, no sale. What that means is if you find that there is no pain, there's no real need, there is no pitching, there is no sale to be had. So detaching from the outcome means my first goal, Jordan, is to determine what is the real need. Does that make sense?
100%. You know, that reminds me of actually a video I saw of yours, and it's related to that and asking questions, because questions is always the best way to go. And let me see if I remember right, but it's something along the lines of you just go into a prospecting call, you'd ask them a question, and you said something along the lines of you'd ask a question to qualify them. And a simple question, it's a perfect question. And if they give you an unreasonable answer, you said this, you said you cannot reason with unreasonable people. And I love that because it makes selling so much easier in terms of when you have the right questions. And because people are so negatively, have a negative perception of salespeople, that sometimes they let that get in the way. And I think that ties in well. And I really like that you do that.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And let's give the audience the tactic and the strategy. Okay.
Yeah. The how. How do you do it?
The how. So what we need to do so we talked about mindset, we talked about detaching from the outcome. Now let's get into the how. The how is allowing the prospect to do all the selling. And so here's how you do it. So anytime you get into some type of discovery or selling situation, let's give the audience a really good picture so they can have good perspective. Traditional selling sounds something like, and it doesn't matter what you sell, but traditional selling is you get into a selling situation and you start to convince, you start to tell the prospect about your product, about your service and how good it is and all the features and all the benefits and all the stuff. This is what we call selling, right? And this is why in the book I talk about telling is not selling, because anytime a salesperson starts to pitch and starts to tell and starts to talk and starts to convince, what does the prospect do every time? They start to cover their ears and say, oh gosh, the walls start to come up. And this is why people just cannot stand salespeople. So what do we need to do instead? We have to make the prospect the salesperson. And all we do is ask Socratic style questions. An example of that would be, Jordan, what had you scheduled the call today? Let him tell you. Jordan, why switch providers? I mean, the company you're with is a great company. Oh my gosh, for the first time ever, the prospect says, well, let me tell you, they didn't do this right. They don't do this. They didn't do this. This is what we needed. And you're sitting back here for the first time as a salesperson saying, holy shit, I don't need to sell. Listen to this person. I asked them one question, and here the prospect is, Jordan, throwing up on me, selling so hard. And now this one tactic, Jordan, puts a salesperson in a completely different position than salespeople ever have in the past.
I love that. That is perfect. So I have a follow-up question for you, Brandon, because I think this is really common too. And I get people asking me this a lot. So the question style that you just covered, the Socratic style questions, I highly suggest that as well. And I think it works so wonderfully. However, I think there's a lot of people out there that have had bad buying experiences, and they have so much trauma when it comes to dealing with any salesperson that they come in with a lot of negative energy. And how that manifests itself is when you ask them a Socratic style question, they kind of give either a really dry answer or they give you a lot of pushback no matter the question. What would you say and how in terms of what's the best way to kind of overcome that as much as you can?
I love it. So again, let's take this concept of detaching from the outcome to its extreme, because you're exactly right. If a new salesperson doesn't understand how to deliver a Socratic style question, it will come off condescending and it can backfire because everyone's so obsessed with, all right, Brandon, give me the questions, give me the words, right? I just posted this on my Instagram yesterday. The words only make up for like 7 to 10% of communication. It's all in the delivery, right? So what we have to do, I love doing this. Tell a prospect to stay put. They've never had a salesperson tell them not to buy in the sales call, at the sales meeting, ever in their life, ever. So imagine a world, a salesperson that's listening to this tells the prospect, well, Bob, Sue, and my fake prospects are always Bob and Sue. That's our little joke with my coaching clients. We say, Bob, why not? I mean, it sounds like right now, it probably makes more sense for you to stay exactly where you're at. Am I right? Now, for the first time in the history of selling, a prospect has never been told not to purchase in front of a salesperson. This is called a pattern interrupt, as you know. And the prospect now, one of two things is going to occur. When you tell the prospect not to buy your thing, okay, first off, they've never heard that before. So one of two things is going to occur. Either A, they're going to say, yeah, I think you're right. And then you automatically call them out and you were off the call. We're out of the meeting. Fine. Beautiful. Or they start to defend or justify their decision on why they do need to make a change. This is how we uncover motivation from a prospect, Jordan, who's being standoffish. We make them defend their position on making a change in their life. And us detaching, we don't care if we make the sale. It's like, Bob, why even look into getting new insurance? Why are you even looking to buy a new car? You have a car. Why would you need a new cell phone? Why would you need whatever your product or service is? Tell the prospect to not do anything and ask them. And so that's what I would do. Any type of prospect that's standoffish, take the sale completely away. Take it off the table. Let them know, I don't care if you buy or you don't buy, because a prospect's not used to that. They're so used to being sold.
Absolutely incredible strategy. Incredible. So what would you say then? It's easy to say, Brandon, or to any prospect or any salesperson out there, just detach from the sale. Don't care about it. And the outcome, just completely separate from it. Now, this is the best advice. I agree with it. If you can truly detach from the sale, you're miles ahead of everyone. You're going to see huge success from that alone. However, do you have any practical tips on how someone can actually detach when we're so driven by commission, making money, and closing sales?
Yeah. So now, I talk a lot about in the book, human behavior. And here's what we know about human behavior. The thing is, what you're asking me is like, Brandon, how do you get a salesperson to understand what you're saying conceptually? Because to them, it sounds very dangerous. It sounds like you're telling these salespeople to push away the sale. Check this out. Here's what comes together. We know that when we tell human beings not to do something, what do they want to do?
They want to do it.
They want to do it.
They want it.
So they want it. It's this human psychology. So here's the thing. You tell a kid not to touch the hot stove, they touch the hot stove every time. Okay? So we have to take this human principle on how humans behave. And I know a newer salesperson, this makes them very nervous, Jordan, to push the sale away because they're like, dude, that's counterintuitive. Like, what if I lose the opportunity? When they do it one time, when they tell the prospect not to buy, the prospect is going to want to buy more. It's going to bring them closer. Now, I know that's a huge risk for a salesperson listening to this to take, but take my advice or take my mistakes rather. You've got two choices. You can try to convince, and just like yourself, you don't want to be sold. You love to buy. Prospects hate to be sold. That's one choice. Okay. This is what most salespeople want to do. Or you can push the sale away, which will absolutely bring the prospect closer to you. Because the more you pitch, the more you push them away. It's like a magnet. So when you pitch, it's like putting two magnets on the opposite side of each other that push you away. If you want that prospect to come in closer, push them away and they'll come in closer. That's the tactical piece that I think a salesperson needs to consider. These are just words. Until they try it, they're going to be like, holy shit, this is like magic. But it's scary in the beginning.